Hello friends, and welcome to another Live and On Display with Whcc. I am privileged to be joined today by Catherine.
Hello.
Catherine, thank you for joining me today.
No problem.
And my name is Robert. And Catherine, today's a big day. It is a milestone day. Did you know that this is our 300th episode?
I did
Cue the
not.
confetti. I'll do it in post. So yes, welcome to our 300th episode today. Listen, I would like to start today's really big shoe with a question. Did you know that you can create your own custom die, which can be debossed into an album cover, lay flat book, even an album box cover? If your answer was, then you are in the right place, because we are going to cover everything you need to know about custom debossing. We'll talk about what is custom debossing, how does it differ from standard debossing. We'll talk about file prep, what kind of files are necessary for you to prepare your artwork that you submit to us to create your custom die. We'll talk about how to order that custom die, and then how to add custom debossing to an album or a book order. And we'll also, of course, show you some product like you see here on the table. And finally, we'll throw in some tips and secrets to get the most out of your custom debossing. Perfect. We're going to be with you guys about 25 minutes or so, and we are live. So don't forget, get down there and drop your questions into the comments. We will get those answered for you as we go along. Everything that we talk about today is going to be on our website, whcc.com. Don't forget to follow us right here on YouTube and also on Instagram at WHCC Pro to keep up on the latest WHCC awesomeness. Again, welcome, Catherine. Let's talk about custom debossing.
Let's talk about it. All right.
Tell us about custom debossing and how that differs, say, from a standard deboss.
Sure. So custom debossing, really, it's in the name, it's custom, right? So you can create your own text, your own layouts of different fonts. You could do different design elements. You really have the flexibility to make it your own. You can really make your logo stand, so your books, your albums, so you can have all the design elements that you do in Photoshop now created as a die that we can then press into the materials of the book, the album, or the album box. What's great about this is, again, it allows you for your logo. You can also do the single-use dies, so something like the names of the session that you're doing, right? Your newborn baby, or maybe the senior's name. It allows you to do all of that fun stuff.
So really, it sounds like there's a couple of different categories, right? There's going to be one that you're going to use over and over and over again, like your logo, or something like you saw Mr. and Mrs. Ward, something that's going to be used a single time.
Right.
And we are going to differentiate that as far as how we approach these dies.
Yes.
Your over and over again dies, or your multi-use dies, we will keep on file. And you can have more than one.
Yes, you
right?
can have a couple on file if you need to.
All right, sweet. So that's our intro. Let's just move on a little bit into how to order these custom debossing files necessary, all that kind of stuff. So I showed you real quick one of these logo designs, right? So these are going to be created from the file that you send to us. This would be an example of, what is this?
That is a
Oh,
logo,
this is two names. So actually, it is a logo. It's
Yes.
somebody's probably logo, but it could be the couple's logo. Often they do that now.
That's true.
And this is going to be a single-use die. Whereas somebody might have, who shoots grads, I don't know if Connor, if you can pick this up, a little bit tougher to see this one, and maybe they're going to stamp grad on the cover of every one, and maybe they're going to stamp something else on the back. You're going to be able to do that. The normal die positions, the normal debossing positions that you can find on the website will be available for all of these. The custom dies will actually have the opportunity included to stamp on the inside end leaf of the cover. Why is that? That's because this is a die, and the standard text, the standard debossing is text,
yes.
basically, and so they can't put on the inside cover. So keep that in mind. Okay, so you've determined, is this going to be multi-use, a single use? You're going to then start to create your file. And just first up front, the cost of these is pretty serialized. It's
yes.
just kind of laid out. And what you're going to do is they're going to range in different sizes, like here's a little tiny one here. And the cost is going to break down like this. So if you have a file size that is up to, well, let's actually say not necessarily the file size, but the actual size of your artwork, okay, is up to 1.25 inches by 3 inches. The cost to set up the die, and this is just a one-time fee, is $36. Up to 2 by 3 is going to be $41. And then if you're going to go 2 to 4.5, that is going to be $46. So they're just flat fees. If you're going to go larger than that, up to a 4 by 6, you're not going to do anything larger than a 4 by 6 on an album. Then that is going to be a quoted price.
And a one-time price.
Yep, still. It's a one-time quoted price. We're going to get into that. Catherine's going to show you how to order those bad boys. So now let's talk about, well, actually before we leave this, once that one-time fee is set,
yep.
any of these custom dies are just going to be the normal deboss fee, which is $15
yep.
per deboss.
Yep.
And
per location.
Yep.
If you want to have it front and back, it'll just be $15 for the front, $15 for the back.
Exactly. So let's talk about the file sizes necessary, and then Catherine is going to jump in and take over some stuff on the computer. So the best way to prepare these is going to be in a few different programs, and what we want to see is a vector graphics file. So let's say an Adobe InDesign would be great. We can take a PDF or an SVG file, which is scalable vector graphic, or we can take an EPS, which is encapsulated PostScript. Those are all vector formats. Those are going to be the best things for these. If you have questions about these and about your file, or you don't know how to do it, contact customer service. In fact, there's going to be an area for questions in the form you submit with your file, just to make sure you know what you're stepping into,
yes.
size-wise and all that kind of stuff, in case you have any questions about that.
Perfect.
All right, does that all make sense?
I hope so.
I hope so too, because we're moving on, baby.
All right.
All right, so you have your die, right? Or your die file. Let's say you've got it created.
Okay.
And then what do I do? How do I order that? How do I get that to you? How does that all work?
Well, that starts by going to whcc.com. So we're going to go to our homepage here. Let me pull up our website. So once you're on our homepage here, you're going to go to Albums and Books, and you're just going to hover your mouse over here, and you're going to click on Albums. That's going to take you right to the album page, and then on the upper right-hand corner, if you click on Product Options, it'll bring you all the way down here, and you're going to start to see all of your cover types. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see all of the materials that you can order, and then we're going to get into the debossing. So this first section here is just talking about our standard debossing that we've already kind of briefly talked about, but then you're going to get into your custom debossing here. Right here, if you just click that How to Get Started page, it's going to pop up into our Help section here. And this is where it's already going to go over what Robert and I have already talked about, the pricing. It's going to show you the sizing, the file format, everything that we've already kind of discussed today is going to be on this page. So if you don't remember, come to this help section here. It's going to tell you everything that you need to know. Once you're here and you're ready to submit that form, just click on the custom die submission form here. It's going to pop open, and then you're just going to fill out all of your information. So we just like to have your business name, your contact name, your WHCC account information, so your email, and then this is where we talked about that sizing. So if you know which size you'd like to do, just make sure that you're clicking whichever one works best for your logo or your design. And then if you know the exact dimensions, you can put that information here as well. And then we're going to get into that multi-use or that single use. So what we talked about earlier, if it's maybe your logo that you want to have on file that you're going to do for every single book or album, click that multi-use. If it's the single use, like maybe somebody's name just for that one book or album, then great, click on that single use custom die. Down below here, you'll have your albums, like what size you plan on ordering, and your cover materials. Just make sure you list all of that information. And then this section here is really important. If you have questions, put your questions here. This is where you want to make sure that you're adding, if you're not sure what size you should do, put that question here. We'll make sure to get you taken care of. Then at the very bottom here, you're going to be able to attach your file. So it looks like we'll just click here where it says choose a file. It's going to pop up. We're going to go to whichever file you've got on file. So again, if you've got the Illustrator file, pop it open, and then you hit submit, and it'll submit your form.
Awesome. Thanks, Catherine. So, Lucas, can we just pop back to the screen real quick? And if we can roll up a tiny bit, just cover a couple of things. So, when we say the exact dimension, if you know the size of it, of course, again, we're talking about the artwork itself, which may be a little bit smaller than your entire file size. And then you see we ask about, do you know what size of books or albums you want to do? And what cover materials, and that is to help us guide you there. Because if you send us a 2x4.5 file and you're only going to do 2x6 or 6x6 albums, that's going to be really overpowering.
That's going to be pretty big
On a cover. And then we could call you and say, hey, maybe we want to rethink the size of this thing. And then also we ask about cover materials. The reason for this is, and this is one of your tips here, to go ahead and look at the page that Catherine just brought you through, which talks about options and debossing, because there are different requirements and different availabilities for your debossing depending on the material of the cover.
Yes.
For instance, all of our linens, they can't take a deboss. They cannot handle it.
Nope.
So it's not available there. So it is going to vary, and that also helps us kind of steer you in the correct direction. And then once you drop in that file, you'll see that change to remove file.
Yes.
But you don't see preview in it.
Right.
That's okay. It's there. And
We've
then
gotten
just
it.
send it to us, and then we're going to contact you. And the process to make this custom die is what? It's about a week or two?
Yeah, a week or two to get us, send it over, we process it, and then we get it back here, and it's ready to go.
So then that's another tip for you. Think about if you want to be adding these dies, specifically a single-use die that
Right.
has a time frame on it, make sure that you build a couple of weeks in.
Yes,
right?
give yourself that wiggle room.
Exactly. And so that we have time to make that die, and those multi-use dies we are going to go ahead and keep on file for you. If we don't have any questions, or do we can possibly move on. We're whipping through this quiet group. You quiet group this morning? That's okay. Let's move on. Okay, so again, remember that you can order more than one, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're getting set up, you may have, like I had mentioned, that grad one that's going to go on the cover of everyone. Maybe the inside end leaf is the studio logo, right? You can order those. You're going to do one of these forms at a time. And then also for, again, your single uses, just make sure that you've given yourself enough time to get that die back. All right, let's talk about the next step, which would be how do you order that custom die? How do you
Sure.
order that for us to make it for you?
So you've already ordered the die that is getting processed, right? And now it's ready for your album. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our home page here. And when you're ready to place your album order online, again, you're still gonna go to that albums and books section. You're gonna click on albums, and boom, right here, that big blue order now button. This is where you're gonna get started. You can make sure that you select the size album that you wanna order. Once you're in the actual builder here, it's going to still show you all of the different options that we've already talked about today. So you'll see all of your cover options here. You can see your materials. So we kind of talked about this as well. Robert mentioned certain materials may have different options for the custom debossing, but just go ahead and make sure that you select whatever you'd like to order for your album. And down at the bottom here, so if we scroll down, you're gonna see your debossing options. So the top portion here is just our standard debossing. Down below, this is where your custom debossing comes into play.
So Catherine, sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
then someone could just do some standard debossing on the front, right?
And then
a
they can-
name or date or whatever, and then also use a custom die on the end leaf or the back cover or whatever.
Yes, you can mix and match. So let's say you want to have just some simple basic text on the front. You can add, your client's name. Let's just say John Smith. And then if you also want to make sure that you're selecting your location, so it's going to show you right now we're center, you can do the lower center, lower right. You've got all of those same location options, and then you've got the font options as well. And then if we scroll down, you'll see your colors as well. So you can do black, white, we've got our blind debossing, some foil options for different materials. And then down at the bottom here, if you still want to add that custom die, so let's say we've made our logo for our team here, you can select the back custom die. We've got just the lower center option, and then here are those two die types that we've talked about. So the multi-use, which is, you know, maybe your logo, and then the single use is if you've got like those names or something a little bit more just for one-time use. For this one, we'll just use our custom die, and this is going to be what we've already got in file. So you won't see an actual preview of it. It's the only thing. You'll just have it selected, but you won't see a preview for it because we'll have it in-house here.
So you will see the preview of the font and everything that you choose for standard debossing.
Yes.
You'll select and the details and what's available, which is kind of cool. And if you hover over, if something is not available, a cover, a color, or something like that, it will not be available to you.
Right.
Like it won't let you select it if you can't actually do it. And then you're gonna just click what you need to click, and it won't preview it. It's just gonna, we already know by that, it's gonna go on the back lower cover, and it's a done deal.
Perfect, yep.
So if you roll down to the bottom of that, is there, oh no, you know what, it's gonna happen when you review this order, you're still gonna have a place for special instructions.
Exactly.
So let's say you did wanna, and we'll show you what it looks like to deboss on the inside end leaf.
Yes.
And suppose you wanted to do that along with, you know, your standard, and maybe you've got your logo on the back, but you want to do something on the interior, and this is only going to work with these custom dies to do the interior end leaf. The reason being that this is a die that we can stamp in.
Yep.
Right? And so we can do that on the end leaf, inside end leaf. That's what this means. As soon as you open or close, those are the end leaves, and you can stamp in there. For these then, in the special instructions, not the studio reference, but the special instructions area and checkout, you're just going to tell us where you want this.
Exactly. You're going to tell us exactly where you want it in the inside, on the front, or on the back, like Robert said, and then just your location on the inside. So do you want it in the center? Do you want it in the lower center? Just let us know that information in the special instructions.
Really flexible, so kind of nice. So that's basically it. You have ordered. You've already sent us your order. The dies are created. You've ordered an album, and you've added your custom die to it, and maybe even mix that in with standard deboss. So why don't we take a look at some product that we've kind of been hinting at.
Yes.
We've got this little Mr. and Mrs. Ward here, but we're going to show you this one here. And actually, I think I'm going to grab this. So if you look, I don't know, Connor, can you get this while I'm down like this? So here's the die. It's literally like the pow stamped right in, right? So that's why it's important that you send us the finished file size, right? Because we're not going to make it bigger for a 10 by 10 and smaller for a 6 by 6.
Right.
Some people do have more than one custom die, right?
Yep, exactly.
Their logo in several sizes because maybe they do
The
6
small
by
6 by
6
6.
and a 12 by 12.
And they want different sizes of their logos.
Right, exactly. So this is here on the distressed leather. It's gorgeous.
Love it.
Right, and so choosing your end leaf, white or black, doesn't matter. If you have a custom die, you can stamp into either one.
Yes.
Right, so obviously these are just all gorgeous. It's dependent on the material, not anything inside. Right.
Exactly.
So if you want to put it, even if it isn't available on, say this was linen, you can still deboss on the end leaf.
Perfect.
Right?
Yes.
Sweet. So that, Mr. and Mrs. Ward, we're going to look at something else here too. Thank you, hand. So here's that example where this photographer shoots grads. So it's always going to say grad. But they also want to have their custom logo on the inside, right? And so they can put that again wherever they please. They could also put it on the back. Wait a minute, this looks like linen. It's not. This is a fabric.
Yes.
Right.
Very similar.
And it does. It's a pretty nice approximation of the linen. The linen is going to be thicker. I
Yeah,
mean, it is
it's a
more.
little bit more luxurious.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, you read my mind.
I did?
Yep, you
Oh,
came in
okay.
here and got it. It is, but this is a nice approximation, and you can deboss, I think, almost anything on here.
Almost anything.
Color and material wise.
Yep.
So that's sweet. Thank you, Hand. Okay, we're going to show you a couple of different things here with Lily and Rose. So this is a baby, and they also made just it's a custom design
Yeah.
for the baby,
Yeah.
as well as the name. So also keep that in mind so that there's no confusion about that. You're sending us an artwork file.
Yes.
Even if you're doing Times New Roman,
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. It's got to come to us in that vector
Vector.
file,
Gotta
as
remember
opposed to
vector.
just as opposed to not. So that's what this Lily and Rose is. And then if you open it back up, there's another custom die that these are both single use. I don't know.
There it
Oh,
is.
look at that! It's almost like somebody planned this. So you see welcomed on and the date of Lillian's birth. Isn't that sweet? Yes, it's sweet. Everybody here said it very quietly. It is sweet. So this beautiful album here is completely personalized. You want to be a rock star? Do this.
You want to gain some points by your kids. Let's, make some custom debossing with
So
their name.
this is just for kicks, and I'm all about kicks. So we already know that this file is just going to go beep, ba pow. We're going to deboss it like that. Catherine, would you mind just holding that? So as this rolls through, this is the actual foil that we used to make this gold. Can you switch a little bit this way?
There we go.
So this is going to roll through, and they're going to hand stamp this. Those of you who know about our albums know that everything is done by hand. It doesn't just spit out some machine. There are hands on every part of the process. And so that's how this gets transferred out of that. Cool, right?
Very
A
cool.
little geek factor, which I am huge on. Here again is another look. It looks like 2, but it's 1. Or is it 2? You know things. Yes, it's 1. That's what we're going to say right now. So this is about as big as you're going to be able to go. This would be a quoted one, right? We would quote that price for you to build that in, and then onto your beautiful album like that. Gorgeous. Oh, I want to come back to this just for kicks because it's so stunning. You can still do custom debossing on a combo cover.
Cameo.
And cameo, no problem, right? The cameo is the hole with the
little
photo.
peekaboo. Yep.
So you can still do it here and here and in the back. So that's what we've got here, this beautiful acrylic combo cover. Super striking.
Stunning.
Yep, stunning is the word. And then you can still deboss in here with a custom deboss. Gorgeous. And you could also, if you wanted to, on the back cover, right? You could add it there. Love it. Gorgeous. All right, any questions about that? I'm going to go with no. Did we get all of the products that we wanted to show?
I do believe so.
I love it. Let's talk about tips and secrets.
Secrets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about a few of them, right? We also talked about, hey, you want to make sure your design is not too big for the album, right? So what can you do about that? We'll not walk you through it, but I'll talk you through it. On the website are sizing templates for our photo covers.
Yes.
Now we're going to have a little different usage of this. You can go to the 10 by 10 or whatever your album size is. You can pull up any of those covers. It doesn't matter really because you're looking at the front.
Right, just the front.
Right? So go get the file that you just made, right, and drop it in there.
See what it looks like.
Yes.
Does it fit?
It's too big.
Yeah, is it too big, too small? Do you need to go bigger?
Yeah.
Go smaller?
So that's really that's a super inside tip. I said super twice. I'm not going to do 3, or I'm going to walk out. That's on me.
Please don't.
No, that's on me. Okay, let's talk about what looks good on different things. You know, we showed you this album box here. This is actually a blind deboss. I'm going to pull it up real quick. It says "ba bye." I'm not sure what that's all about. Ba bye.
Are you sure it's not
Oh, baby, yeah. So you can do it on the album box as well, and that's a blind deboss where it just pushes into the material. Smaller text is going to look great on those fabrics, like that one that I showed you with the grad on it, right? Really, really nice and tight, like the book cloths, and this was a fabric, right?
Yes.
Smaller will look really nice on this. You can go pretty small is what we're getting at.
Yep.
As far as like on the leathers, you're going to do better with kind of the bigger, more substantial
Yes,
fonts, or
yes.
wouldn't you
A
say,
little bit
or
bolder.
designs, right? Because you're pushing into that leather,
Yes.
right? That's going to just show up better.
Show up more.
Really,
Yep, exactly.
right. The end leaf stamping we've talked about, right? If it's on the inside cover, like you're going to imagine this one is, only for the custom dies, right? The custom dies are only available because of the physical necessity of it. We have a die, we can push it into there.
We can just stamp it in. Yep.
Right. We can't get those lettering in there like that. So keep that in mind. We already talked about how you're going to order multiple, right? You're going to make use of those special instructions. If you have any questions about where your design is going to go, anything like that, put it in the special instructions on the order. You can even say, could you call me? I'm not sure what I'm doing, right?
We'll call you.
Yeah. It may be Catherine.
That may be, yes.
It may happen. And we'll call you and we'll talk you through it. Okay, then we also talked about mixing, right, the standard
Yes.
and the custom, that's no problem.
Yeah.
And we also then talked about the materials, right? So do take a minute, go onto the website if you're not familiar with it, get into the cover options.
Play around with it.
And play around with it, because not everything is going to be available on every material, okay? So do take a look at that. Well, guess what, people? We are at the end of our 300th episode.
300.
Catherine, I am so happy that you are with me with this.
Me too.
300th
That is a
episode.
milestone.
The confetti that's
Yes.
going to happen later. Yeah, right. Here, they're going to put it in. I'm going to throw it. Isn't that awesome? So, ladies and gents, and everyone else, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Robert. This is Catherine. For all of our team, here's about 180 people here in this room and up in the booth, and going like this. Would you just wrap it up? Thanks again for joining us every time, and also on our 300th episode. It's been a pleasure to spend this time with you. You guys have a great day, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.